eventually we came to this camp, and we saw these blocks. And they asked us to line up alphabetically, the A's and the B's. And quick thinking, I thought, seeing that we were separated from my stepmother, I said, I don't want to be separated again, because my surname was with D, but my aunt's surname was with A. So I went under A to be with her. Mm-hmm. And we went into the block, and we were pointed to the first part on the left. There were so many of us that when we were told to lie down, we could only lie down like so. One
on your sides.
into the other on our side, in rows. So there were 2 or 3 rows like that. And if anybody wanted to turn around, the whole row had to turn around. On the bare floor, of course. And when the coffee came, what was called coffee, came in big canisters or whatever they were, and we had to stand up in 5s again. 5 was always the norm for everything. They were giving 1 bowl to 5, and you each had a sip, and then again another sip, and the same with the soup. No spoons, but just like that. But most of the day we spent outside, again standing in 5s, on the side of the block, and that was called the appel. And it was counting took place. Mm-hmm. So people from each block stood beside it, and the Germans were counting us. And there's someone missing. Stories, for hours and hours. And if you needed if your body needed, somebody, toilet, you had to do it while you stood there.
So why were they doing that?
I don't know.
So how long were you there?
I was there, luckily, I was there only, without having a calendar or anything, or a pencil to write down, close to 2 weeks at the most. So then we were told that we were going to be sent elsewhere to work. Again, always to work. And we went and we had showers, and we were given clothing, much better clothing. Oh yes, and before that, somehow, I don't know, I got a pair of wooden clogs. So when we were going, I knew we were going to go elsewhere. When I passed my sister's block, I called out her name. She wasn't there. I just called out her name and threw the clogs, hoping that they'll get to her. I only found out not long before she passed away that she never got the clogs. We didn't talk about it, Anyway, so this time we got some clothing and shoes, and again taken by wagons, similar. And again took us a long time, because we crossed Poland from Auschwitz's south, and we crossed that away up to the Baltic Sea. So it was a long way, much longer than when we came from Lodz to Auschwitz. And then we arrived in a place that was called Stutthof. We had no idea where it was or what, but we knew it must have been quite far, because it took us so long. And the blocks looked different to the ones in Auschwitz. And we were assigned to rooms, and there were bunks. So we had bunks to sleep on, and a blanket. So it was already, condition-wise, much better.
Yeah.
But it was still a camp, and the food was very limited. And people were getting sick and, you know.
Dying.
And I was in the bathroom, and just to probably for myself for a better mood, to improve my mood, I whistled, because I used to whistle well.
Yeah.
And the woman comes in, woman who had longer hair, Jewish woman, had longer hair and was quite well dressed, well dressed, you know, because the
Compared
clothes.
to the rest of you.
Yeah. And she listened to me, and she told me what her name was, and that she came, and she knew that I was from Lodz because the transport, and she told me she was from Riga, from Latvia. Okay. A couple of days later, she looks me up, and she says, listen, would you like to wash floors, and you'll get an extra ration of bread? I said, sure. So my job was to wash the floors, and I'll get an extra ration. And when she told me that, by that time, my aunt was very sick, so weak.
Just largely from just a lack of nourishment, yeah.
And she begged me, because we had a middle bunk, let me stay on the floor. And how could I let my aunt stay on the floor when there's bunks? We have a bunk. And I didn't want to, and she pleaded with me because she needed to go to toilet very often. I said, I'll take you. No, she insisted. I put her on the floor. So when Mrs., I remember, I think the name, I forget now, Glixman, I think, whatever. When I got the message, I told her, told my aunt, and I really wanted to believe that she heard it, because she was already off with the fairies. But as I said, I was hoping that she heard that I have a chance to survive, because she was going.
So that whistling, that tune, ultimately was just pivotal in...
Absolutely.
And it was just a little bit extra, but it was that bit
It
extra
was enough
that kept you alive.
kept me alive.
And your aunt?
And my aunt, not long after when I told you that she passed away,
Yeah.
and I picked her up, because she was skin and bones, I mean, there's nothing to pick up, and put her on the ground outside where lots of other bodies were. And I stood there. And I didn't know any Hebrew prayers. I wasn't very well, I wasn't educated with Hebrew and all that. But yes, there are some prayers that you say for the dead, but I didn't know any, so I just stood there. And this was her funeral. I missed her, of course, because she really was my beloved aunt. She was so good to me and so caring, and she loved me so much, and I loved her. So I missed her.